Thank you, everyone. What an enormous honor it is to be standing here. Thank you so much, Doe Mayer. As Doe said, she and Duke Underwood were my 290 teachers during my very first semester here at USC. It was the best possible introduction I could have had to this school, and that class helped lay the foundation for everything I learned here. I want to take a moment to thank Dean Elizabeth Daly and congratulate her on her remarkable achievements. Where is she? What she's accomplished here at USC and continues to accomplish is extraordinary. I know that I speak for many in our industry, and especially the women, when I say that we look up to her and admire her. She sets the standard for the rest of us, and the bar is high. He doesn't want me to talk about him today, but I wouldn't be up here without Rick Jaffa, my partner in everything. Rick, I share this honor with you. And a shout out to my kids, Joe and Frankie, who have been supportive through years of their parents putting in long hours of obsessive work. And I certainly wouldn't be up here without the USC School of Cinematic Arts. When the brilliant Frank Danielle initiated the writers program in 1988, I was lucky enough to be in his first class, learning from the master himself. I'm not exaggerating when I say that not a workday goes by that his words of wisdom don't help me out of a jam and show the way forward. From the big stuff, like how to structure a screenplay, to small writerly tips like making sure you always keep a pad and pen in your back pocket, Danielle was a font of knowledge and inspiration. Under his guidance, fantastic teachers like David Howard and Charlie Peters taught me the craft of screenwriting in a revolutionary, powerful, incisive way that changed my life. So my cup overflows with gratitude. I graduated, as Doe said, in 1989, and I've been fortunate enough to make a living in the film industry for almost 30 years. So in preparing my speech for today, I've thought long and hard about what advice I can give you guys as you embark on your imminent adventures. Should I give you advice about what to wear to a pitch meeting? Divulge how to mess with the margins in order to get a 130-page script down to 117? Tell you how to make the head of the studio think that your creative solution to a major problem was actually their idea? All this is valuable information, to be sure, but I'll start with this. A close friend of mine tried skydiving once, and she told me that when she first jumped out of the airplane, her feet kept straining and searching, trying to find the ground. It's a primal instinct, trying to find solid ground, even when you know there's no ground to be found. This detail struck me because I know the feeling. In fact, I feel it often when I'm writing, especially when I'm confused about where I'm going, which is also often. In those moments, I'm lost. I doubt everything. My choices, my vision, myself. In those moments, I am desperate for solid ground. As you move forward in your careers, it's going to be tempting to skip the skydiving and play it safe. This holds true no matter what creative role you have. It's true on the page, on the screen, in animation and video game design, on the soundtrack, in the cutting room. It's so much easier to color inside the lines and stick to a story that's been cracked by someone else, to head down a creative path that's well-worn and proven to be successful, to protect yourself and not take the risk. Let's face it, risk is scary. My skydiving friend, by the way, she broke her back. But here's the thing. The juice of the creative process flows from your unique personal voice, your fear, your heartbreak, your secrets, your most embarrassing, ridiculous stuff. That's where the power is. That's the way you make your connection with your audience. That's the secret sauce. And there's no faking it. I can't explain to you why this is, but the audience can tell when you're hedging your bets. They smell it a mile away. They can feel that you're holding back the juice, and they don't like it. What the audience craves is an emotional journey that comes from your heart, and if you dare to deliver it, I promise they will reward you many times over. But don't misunderstand me. You don't have to get autobiographical to make the work personal. You don't have to tell your life story. You can keep your emotional connection so deeply embedded that not even your closest friend recognizes it. But it has to be in there somewhere. I'll give you an example. A while back, I was struggling to find an emotional way into a story about dinosaurs taking over a theme park. I wasn't that interested in dinosaurs or theme parks, so I was feeling a little bit discouraged. Every time I sat down to write, the work came out false. But I was raising teenagers at the time, and that can be a terrifying business. Suddenly, I made a connection. Teenagers, velociraptors. It turns out I did know a thing or two about how scary it is to try to tame velociraptors, creatures who you care about deeply and root for, but who also scare the shit out of you. So you've got to be brave. You've got to be brave enough to put personal in your work, brave enough to let everyone see that work, and finally, here's the big one, brave enough to be willing to fail. Fail while bearing your soul. Because everyone fails sometimes, no exceptions. If someone tells you they've got it figured out and it's smooth sailing all the way, they're selling you a bucket of clams. I get it, failure is no fun. Our instinct is to avoid it at all costs, to find the solid ground and stay there. But this I know to be true. Failure is a greater teacher than success. And even if you don't believe me about that, it doesn't matter because, as I said, it's inevitable. When I was at USC, one of my most inspirational teachers, Nina Foch, encouraged us to make failure our friend. Nina's advice was simple and brilliant. Don't fear failure. On the contrary, embrace it, invite it in. Go ahead, pull up a chair. I'm not afraid of you. And let me tell you, Nina's pearl of wisdom has come in handy because I cannot begin to count the number of jobs that I've auditioned for and didn't get, or the number of scripts I wrote that never got made, or the number of times I've been flat out fired every time off of projects I had given my heart and soul to. Heartbreaking? Yes. Humiliating? Absolutely. Defeating? Never. Here's a useful bit of insider knowledge. Executives always fire you around 7 p.m. Because they avoid the call until the end of the day. Totally understandable. Who would want to make that call, right? You put it off. And my family still cringes every time the phone rings during dinner, to this day. I do not tell you this to discourage you. I tell you because despite the numerous, hideous failures in my career, I survived, and I stand before you today at this unbelievable place of honor to tell my tale. So here's my advice to you guys, the graduating class of 2018. When you get knocked down, pick yourself up, wipe the blood off, and get back in the ring. Refuse to be discouraged. I'm going to say that one more time. Refuse to be discouraged. Don't be afraid to hear the word no, and don't take no for an answer. Trust your gut and fight for your point of view. Be bold. Jump out of that airplane. Put your heart and soul into everything you do. Hang in there. Keep writing, keep creating, keep moving forward no matter what. Persevere. Whether you're inspired by Ryan Coogler or Greta Gerwig, Gordon Willis or Walter Murch, Linda Wolverton or Sherry Lansing, Thelma Schoonmaker or Shonda Rhimes, I urge you to sprinkle in a healthy dose of Winston Churchill and ride to the sound of the cannon. When failure comes your way, embrace it with a clear-eyed, steely gaze, and never, never, never give up.